You have a barbershop business. The defendant left your employment.
Correct.
I opened my own business.
You signed this non-compete agreement.
Yes, I did, but under duress.
You cannot open up a competing business 2.8 miles away from her.
This is crazy.
That's what she's entitled to do. She's the boss, applesauce.
This is Judy Justice. Nicole Messino is suing her former employee, Felicia Stella, for breach of contract, slander, and loss of income.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case number 3095, Messino versus Stella.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Miss Messino, you have a barbershop business.
Correct.
How long have you had it?
Since 2016.
How many people did you have working for you when you had the most people working for you, the most barbers working for you?
Currently, right now, I own 2 barbershops, and right now I have 11 employees.
When did you purchase the second shop?
The middle of December.
2023.
2023, yes.
The defendant worked in the initial shop.
That's correct.
Starting when?
In 2017.
Until when?
Until August 6th of 2022.
From what I read, all of the people that worked for you up until a particular time, and that would probably be around 2022, were 1099 employees, which means they were independent contractors. So at the end of the year, you gave them a Form 1099. They took care of their own taxes.
Correct.
At some point, according to you, you decided to make everyone employees.
Correct.
And at that time, you also decided to have all of your people sign agreements. And the agreements provided that they could not open up a barber business within a certain radius of your business.
Correct.
The defendant left your employment and opened up her own barbershop.
Correct.
She left your employ on August the 6th of 2022?
Correct.
And when did you open up your own barbershop, Miss Stella?
October 25th of 2023.
October 25.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. It was 2022. I apologize.
May I see a copy of the contract that you had with Miss Stella? Because what you're suing for is breach of contract.
Correct.
This contract and slander. Well, you signed this agreement, madam.
Yes, I did, but under duress.
Just a second. I didn't ask you anything. You signed this agreement. I mean, I understand what you are alleging. You're alleging that you signed it under duress. Now, Sarah, would you look up for me non-compete agreements, Pennsylvania?
Sure. The
Pennsylvania law on the parameters of a non-compete. How many miles?
It's 3 to 5 miles in the state of Pennsylvania.
Oh, well, that's what Sarah's going to check.
I'll let you know. Give me 1 second.
Okay, so you signed this non-compete agreement. It is your defense that she threatened to terminate you if you didn't sign it. That's your defense.
No, I didn't.
To this.
And more.
Yes.
There's more than that as well.
But that's your defense to this, to signing this agreement, that she said either you sign it
Yes, ma'am.
or I'm going to fire you.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, that's okay. She could do that. It's our business.
In the state of Pennsylvania, there's contract law. There's three things that go with that. There's an offer, and then there's an acceptance and consideration.
Let me explain something to you. The laws of contract in every jurisdiction are the same. There has to be initially an offer, an acceptance, and consideration. That forms the basis of any contract.
Yes, ma'am.
There is an offer, an acceptance, and consideration.
No.
Absolutely, there is here. It's not as if Miss Stella, she said to you, if you don't sign this agreement, I'm going to amputate your arm at the elbow.
Okay.
That's different. She's allowed to say to you, I'm not hiring anybody or maintaining in my employment anybody who doesn't sign a non-compete clause. They're perfectly valid.
Okay.
And she's allowed to say that to you. You're allowed to leave. This is America. And she's allowed to fire you. She's the boss. She's allowed to say to you, in my shop from now on, everybody has to wear a uniform. I don't want to wear a uniform. Then you're fired. You don't have a right to a job unless you meet the requirements of your employer. The only question that I have is how many miles?
So there's not a set radius. It's all about reasonableness. The geography must feature a limited geography, for example, within a defined area such as a city, normally unenforceable to prohibit employees from working for any competitor across the country.
No,
but as long as it's
that's too onerous.
Exactly. But as long as it's a defined geography, it tends to be reasonable.
Okay, so what you're saying, Ms. Stella, is that you have proof that in the state of Pennsylvania, it either has to be 3 or 5 miles. It can't be both.
It's just, it just says between 3 to 5 miles. I do not have that proof. I apologize.
How many miles is the shop that you opened up from her shop?
It's 2.8 miles away.
Well, that's too close, madam. She's absolutely right. You breached her contract.
Okay. If I took her clients, then
No, you breached her contract. It says that you cannot open a competing business for 5 years, and you certainly fall within the radius. You violated this contract.
Okay.
She's absolutely right.
All right.
When you left in August of 2022, where did you go?
I left. I didn't have anywhere to go.
So when was the next time you worked?
When I opened my own business.
And when you opened your own business, that was 3 months later.
Yes, sure was.
Don't be snippy, Miss Stella. It was 3 months later. How many of her barbers came with you?
3, 4 of us.
3.
3 total. 4 total.
4 total, you and 3 others. Uh-huh is not
Yes,
an
ma'am.
answer. Yes is the answer.
I'm sorry.
Yes is an answer. And the 3 others, did any of them come from her shop?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so it's a breach of contract. It's clear.
They all left on their free will.
Okay.
I can't. I apologize.
Breach of contract. You have a counterclaim, which is interesting. And your counterclaim is for money owed for defamation of character, slander, harassment, and emotional distress.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm not interested in the signing of this agreement.
Okay.
I'm interested in how you claim the plaintiff defamed you.
Well, her and her husband had a whole conversation about me on Facebook, ma'am.
Just a second. I'm not interested in her husband.
Okay.
I'd like to see what you claim she did to defame you.
She proceeded to write emails to my family.
Just a second. All I have to do is see what you claim she did to defame you.
It says that I have a current
Kevin,
record.
would you please get what she says she believes is actionable? Maybe.
She said I was stealing company time.
Hold on. Could you please just hand it to me?
Yeah. That I've been manipulating people, Your Honor.
Don't speak. Julia. And who is Julia?
My sister.
Okay. You wrote an email to Julia.
I wrote a heartfelt email
Just a
to
second.
Julia.
Just say what. Who cares? Next.
I do, because I'm a recovering
Just a second.
addict. And for
Just
you to
a
go
sec-
out and
Just
say
a
those
second.
things.
She's allowed to write a private communication to somebody. That's
a
not
third party?
published. That's not
That's
published.
not
You
true?
say she's defamed you publicly. She's allowed to write whatever she wants in a private letter to
She
somebody.
stopped a police officer and lawyer on the street and told him that I was using drugs, actively using
Would you?
drugs.
Just a second. If you have that person here, I'll actually hear them.
Right.
But you don't. I'd like to see what you claim is actionable that she wrote about you. You said she posted something on Facebook. Well, Facebook is a public forum.
Yes, it is.
A letter to your sister is not a public forum. All I care about is what she wrote. Fine. Oh, she says the cancer is gone and the entire aura of the shop has changed. The dark cloud is gone. It's almost a clean slate with your new employees. You can expand and turn Giovanni's into a barbershop powerhouse. It was meant to me. What defamation is that? You talk. What
They can't. The cancer. Like, I'm not a cancer.
Okay.
This is crazy.
All right.
She went around and told people that I was actively using hard drugs, ma'am.
Madam!
Okay.
Nicole Messino claims her former employee, Felicia Stella, breached their contract and stole her customers. Felicia is countersuing for harassment, slander, and defamation.
If you bring me a witness, I will hear you. I'm not hearing what she told a policeman on the street or what she told strangers. Nothing that you've shown me that was published is defamation. What else?
I was countersuing also for mental anguish. Your Honor, I am a recovering heroin addict, and I am open about that. And I tell
she's
people
using
that.
drugs.
Just a second. You have to understand, I didn't say that, and good for you if you got your life back on track. terrific for you. But in order to have emotional distress, you have to have somebody who's guilty of something that's illegal or against the rule of civil law. So far, you have nothing. This doesn't say anything that the cancer is gone and the aura of my shop is now different. You may have been hurt about it, but that's not actionable. Do you understand?
I do. I thought
Okay.
because there was a full
Okay.
conversation, that was my misunderstanding, that there was a whole conversation between her and her husband on social media with my name in it. So that was,
Sorry. And you breached your contract with Stella.
Your Honor, may I say something?
About what?
About the contract, and because I am also a former employee of hers.
No, you can't. Did you sign a contract?
I did.
She threatened to fire you if you didn't sign it?
Correct.
That's what she's entitled to do. She's the boss, Applesauce. She's the boss. People in this country think that they're entitled to jobs. Once you have a job, you're entitled to keep it. Pay attention. You're entitled to fire anybody that works for you. I can look at Kevin and I can say, you know what? Last year I loved you. This year not so much. You're fired. He has a contract. I have to pay him out of his contract. I would never say that to him because I adore him. But he's capable of being fired. He's capable of being fired for anything other than a violation of the Constitution, which means you're being fired for race, religion, sexual orientation, probably a couple of other things that I've forgotten, some of which I think are absolute nonsense. But they're entitled to fire you if you refuse to sign an agreement that prohibits you from stealing their clients and their employees. They're absolutely
We were independent
entitled
I was an
to.
independent contractor for 8 years. Tell me how they were her clients. They were not her clients.
You violated the terms of the contract. You cannot open up a competing business 2.8 miles away from her within
She tried to make
in
me
3 months.
unemployable.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $10,000. You count the claims dismissed. We're done.
This court is adjourned.
Apparently, I was a cancer that worked there. Apparently, people didn't like me.
I think it was very fair. She signed a non-compete.
When I quit, so did 5 other of her staff members.
She turned all my employees against me, and she staged a walkout and took them because I was making changes to my business.
We're doing great. We're thriving. We're growing. And things have just been beautiful.
You know what? May the best business win because she pushed me to go further. I opened up a second barbershop in By Felicia.
You know, I still can't get past the fact, Sarah, that in this country now there's a sense of entitlement that once you start a job for a reason, for a non-reason, and we're not talking about the violations of
The Constitution.
the Constitution. We're talking about
Parameters set by bosses.
parameters. You have to be in at 9 o'clock. Well, but I can't because I get up late. I'll stay later. I can't be in by 9 o'clock. You're fired. Period.
Yeah.
I want you to continue to be my employee, but we're changing from 1099s to employees. If you don't sign this agreement, you're fired.
Yeah. As soon as I read the papers, I knew the defendant had misunderstood the definition of duress because
Yes.
it was smeared all over her answer that I only signed it under duress, duress this, duress that. Well, being offered the handbook of the place in which you are employed and being offered a choice of these are the new requirements. If you like it, great, sign
If
it,
not-
continue
if
working,
not,
and if
adios.
not, goodbye.
Yes.
And that's perfectly reasonable.
Yeah, but don't sign it, then go off and open up 2.8 miles away a competing business and take 3 people with you. Yeah, that's a no-no.
Blonsey O'Barron is suing his ex-girlfriend, Sharila Williams, for stolen property and money taken from his bank accounts.
Court come to order. All rise.
Have a seat, please.
Hello, Judge. Case 3056, O'Brien versus Williams.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. O'Barron, you and the defendant were a couple for a while.
Yes.
From when to when?
2021 to 2023,
When in 2023?
October.
Well, we're not there yet. October of 2023 comes up in a few months.
That was 2022, I meant.
Okay, so from 2021 to October
2022.
of 2022.
Yes, my bad.
And You live together. According to what I've read, you took an apartment and the lease was in both your names?
Yes.
Yes, Your Honor.
And in what month and year was that lease signed?
In June.
June of 2022?
Yes.
Okay. You are in a wheelchair as a result of being shot.
Right.
When were you shot?
June 23rd,
Of what year?
2022.
Under what circumstances?
It was an altercation with my mother, my kids, and her boyfriend.
Okay, so it was somebody that you knew.
Yes.
And was that person arrested?
No.
Did you know who it was?
Yes, I know who it was.
Is there any reason why that person wasn't arrested who shot you?
I had a gun myself, and then the gun happened to go off. I didn't have an altercation with the person, so it was with somebody else. He was just there, and then he started shooting.
When you moved into the apartment with the defendant, you had not been shot.
No.
So when you were shot, you were hospitalized for a while?
Yes, I was
long?
actually in the hospital for about 3-4 months.
I'm going to come to you with some dates.
Yes, Your Honor.
You moved into this apartment together in October of 2022,
So we moved in June of 2022.
and he was shot that same month.
Yes, ma'am.
And he spent several months in the hospital.
He spent like 3 months in the hospital. Yes, Your Honor.
Your complaint against the defendant is that she used some money because you subsequently became incarcerated.
She didn't use it. She stole it.
She stole, you were living together,
Yes.
I assume sharing expenses,
Right.
and you had a bank account.
Yes.
You were incarcerated,
Yes.
which means that whatever income you had went into that bank.
Yes, ma'am.
And the two of you, when you were in the apartment, shared expenses, including rent. How did you expect her to pay rent with you incarcerated if she didn't use your money that was going into your bank account, which she had control over?
The rent was already paid for 3 months.
You were incarcerated on what day?
I was in the hospital when the rent was already paid.
Well, you were in the hospital, but then you went to jail.
I went to jail.
Okay, you went to jail from when to when?
October till April.
The lease wasn't up until May. How was she supposed to pay rent?
That's what I'm saying. I paid.
Are you
the rent.
telling me in October you paid October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May?
I paid for 3 months.
Which 3 months?
From October, maybe till December.
Let's say it's true. I assume you can prove to me that you paid the rent for those couple of months. What happened to December, January, February, March, and April? What about those 5 months?
We actually didn't have an agreement for me to pay anything, so
You were both on the lease. You were both fully
Right.
responsible for the rent.
Right.
And you were paying something
Right.
towards the rent.
Right.
Well, I'm asking you, how do you expect her to pay the rent? What was the total rent?
The rent was $750 a month, Your Honor.
And prior to going to jail, how much did you contribute towards the rent? Is not an answer.
I wasn't working at the time because my situation, from October, I was being incarcerated, and I applied for disability, and then I was waiting to get approved while I was.
Well, you got disability. That's what you're complaining about, that you took
Yes.
money out of your account. The money that came out of your account to pay some of these bills was from disability.
I wish you would pay some bills with it. That would make me feel a lot better. But she never paid no bills. She just used the money for unnecessary stuff. So.
How do you know that?
Because I have the proof. If she would pay the bills with the money, when I got home, when I get out, I will probably have somewhere to go. When I left the hospital, I had a GoFundMe. I had a little money. I was helping paying
Just a
bills.
second, you did a GoFundMe?
Yes, from the
what?
hospital, from the months I was in the hospital, so to help me with my medical needs and stuff.
How much did you collect from a GoFundMe page?
2,800 something.
Do you have an outstanding medical bill?
No, I don't. I actually had Medicaid then at the time.
So that you had no hospital bill. You walked out of the hospital, didn't pay anything.
No, I applied while I was in the hospital.
Doesn't matter. You didn't pay anything, correct?
No.
So what did you do with the $2,800 you
No,
got from? Shh.
Okay, I'm sorry.
What did you do with the $2,800 that you got from the GoFundMe page? I'm just curious.
I actually bought a lot of stuff for me to use. When I got out, I needed a lot of stuff.
Okay, you say she took money. Did you take any money out of his account?
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
How much did you take out?
I roughly spent maybe $3,000 on bills.
Okay, and what did you spend the $3,000 on?
There was rent, there was food, there were utilities, my car note.
Well, why is he